Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Okay, great, great, great. So nice to see you people. Good morning. Namaste, sir. Namaste. Very nice to see you.
Dr. Mukesh Thakur here, Principal NMDC, DAV Polytechnic, Dantewala, sir.
Great, great, great. We were only having the audio meet, but now this is a video meet. That's a great thing, sir.
Right, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, please, sir. Good one.
Sir, I request you to kindly present, sir, now, so that once we can practice.
Sure.
Your slide. Yes, sir. Please.
I'll just present using my screen. Your entire screen. Okay. And oh, my share option is not active.
Sir, we had made it shareable to all the participants, sir. You can kindly share, sir.
No, but it's not coming as an active mode. Hopefully, what I feel that I need to join through my Google account, because this is my Yahoo account. So hopefully, I have to join through the Google account to get it shared. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
So
Please,
what
sir.
I'll do, I'll just join through Google account. Let me
Sure, sir. Sure.
first switch it off and then join through the Google account only.
Yes,
Okay?
sir. Yes, please, sir.
Okay. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Let me check now again. If it's,
Sure, sir, sure. Yes.
uh, still not active. I don't know what has happened. Uh, uh, can you just send this link to my Google Mail? That link, the mail ID is amkuthe@mec.vnit.ac.in.
Yes, sir.
Just send it to that mail. Hopefully, with that, it will pick up. Yes, I think I'm audible now.
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Yeah, let me check now because now I joined to the Google Meet.
Yes, please.
Still not giving the access or sharing the screen. And anyway, I'm just making any mistake because there is a present now option.
Yes, sir.
I'm selecting that only, but then why it is not given access to that? Maybe a window. There is a three options: present your entire screen, a window, and a tab.
Yes,
So
sir.
what should I select?
Sir, you open the PPT, sir. Then you have to select a window. Then go for the
Acha,
PPT
okay.
tab, and then.
Acha, for PPT is already open on my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Sir,
only window.
yes, sir. Please select that. Yes.
Uh, but then it should surely 1 minute. 1 minute. Let me check that. Yeah. This is open. Okay. Yeah. I think you can see now. Okay.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Oh, great, great. I was making some mistake that I was sharing the entire screen. Okay, okay, I'm
Yes.
ready now.
Yes.
By the time, just to quickly ask one query from my side, I have one videos to be played, maybe last slide.
Yes.
So, is it possible to play it from my side, or you can play it from your side also?
Sir, you can present the video, sir.
Okay,
There will be no problem. You can present the video.
okay, okay, okay. From here only, that's no issue.
Yes.
So,
Sir, will you please stop presenting so that I can introduce you? We had also prepared a PPT that I
okay,
will
so
present.
I will stop sharing now.
Yes, sir. Yes. Please.
Okay, okay, okay. So I just stop here. Yeah. No, I think it's okay.
Principal, sir, can we start the session, sir, please?
Yes, Raghavendra, please proceed. Please
Yes.
proceed.
So once again, good afternoon to all of you, all the participants, and to our respected speaker, Dr. A.M. Kuthe, sir, Professor VNIT Nagpur. I, on behalf of NMDC DAV Polytechnic family, would welcome you, sir, to this session. Before going to the session, I would like to introduce you all about sir. Dr. Abhay Kumar Madhusudan Kuthe is presently Professor Higher Administrative Grade in Mechanical Engineering Department at Vishwesvaraya National Institute of Technology, Nagpur, Maharashtra. Sir began his career in 1986 after Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical from Government Engineering College, Amravati. He joined Hindustan Aeronautical Limited, Nasik. He obtained his MTech from IIT Roorkee and also joined Birla Consultancy Services as Senior Software Engineer. He left BICS and joined VNIT in 1993. After that, Sir has done his PhD in the year 2001. His research work is focused in the area of radio prototyping. Also, I would like to inform you all that Sir has a vast teaching experience of 26 plus years, also an industrial experience at Hall, I mentioned earlier, of 2 years and more. His specialization include CAD, radio prototyping, application of free form fabrication in medical sciences, computer and database management, product design and development, engineering experimentation, machine design. He also has guided more than 11 PhD scholars and also 2 in progress. He had published a book titled Computer Graphics including CAD, AutoCAD and C. He also had research and development projects numbered more than 4 and appointed as an external examiner by IIT Bombay for the PhD Viva and many more. He delivered various lectures, expert lectures in universities abroad and also in India. So with these words, I would like to request Dr. A.M. Kuthe sir for his address. Sir, please, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I'd like to just share my screen now. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I'm just keeping it in a presentation mode so that it will be easier for all of you to just
Yes, please.
get a full view of the slide. Okay. So, yeah. So, thanks to the Polytechnic College at Dantewada, especially the principal, Dr. Thakur, for arranging a wonderful so-called this STTP related to the national education policy. I'm really grateful to him that because he has invited me to do a lecture, I studied this national education policy in much more detail, though I was earlier gone through it. But then I thought that let us understand it thoroughly, and that too from the National Research Foundation's perspective. That is what has been indicated in that particular national education policy. To my surprise, when I interacted with many faculty members, especially senior faculty members, I found that they are also not aware like to how this National Research Foundation concept in NEP is all about. So I discussed with them. I rather told them that this is what exactly we need to do from the higher education perspective point of view. So thanks, Dr. Manish Thakur, for giving me this opportunity, and hopefully I should say that educate me also. It is of more interest to me to interact with all participants, and I have seen that around 50 are there online. Maybe some more will join. So it will be really very interesting for me to interact with all the faculty members, mostly hopefully from the Chhattisgarh side. And the time allocated to me is 1.5 hours. So I will try to finish my lecture or my presentation within 1 hour. But what is more interesting to me is our interaction, our discussion. And therefore, half an hour I wish to keep it for interaction. So during the presentation also, if you have any queries, please use the chat box and use it and put your queries in that particular chat box so that I can look at it once the thing is over from my side as presentation of this particular topic, which is New National Research Foundation funding and its function. So I'm Professor Kuthe, and I'm just showing you the two interesting picture of our institute. One is our entrance of the institute, VNIT Nagpur. I don't know how many of you have visited our institute, but please do come to Nagpur, do visit our institute, and you can enjoy not only the academic flavor, but flavor of oranges also in Nagpur. So please let me know when you are coming. It will be my pleasure to rather welcome you to VNIT as a guest of VNIT. The other picture is of the CAD/CAM center where we are all working, which is a part of the mechanical engineering department. And here we work in the CAD/CAM area. You can see the two bolts hanging at the top of that. They are representing the major research projects that we are presently working on. The one is called Biomedical Engineering and Technology Incubation. That is what called as the BETIC, which we which is actually a collaborative project with IIT Bombay and College of Engineering, Pune. And another one is on the Smart Foundry. That is again a multi-institutional project where around 14 institutes all over India is together. So I'm really proud of these two projects, which are having the total worth of around 49 crores. And we are working in these two major projects, though other projects are also on. But we are taking pride in showing to the people, those who are visiting our CADCAM center, that what we are doing under these two projects. So it's of more interest for me to show you also when you will come to Nagpur. So let us look at the our major so-called the issue today, and that too about the national education policy. I hope all of you must have already gone through this document, which is available on the net. If you are not read it, please do so. At least the higher education part, if you can go through, that will be quite interesting. Though the whole document is very interesting and very nicely drafted, and you get a lot of rather the perspective of how the education system should be when you once you start reading it. And I'm really happy when I have seen the when I have seen the vision of this national education policy. So the vision of new education policy, which is mentioned, is related to the how exactly the new education policy should be, and so much of text is shown. I think you can even read it anytime, but I'm more interested in just focusing your attention on the text which I have shown in the red color. The interesting thing which I like in vision is making India a global knowledge superpower. You know, we always talk about the
Very sorry
superpower.
to interrupt, sir. Very sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt.
sorry. Yeah,
Sir, your
yeah.
slides are not moving, sir, I think.
It's not moving.
Yes, sir.
Then can you see this slide? No.
Sir, only the first slide is visible to us.
So I don't know. This is next one is not shown, seen.
No, sir.
So what we should do then in that case? Should I? I think
Yes, sir. Now it is moving, sir. Please.
it's moving now.
Yes,
No.
sir. Yes, sir.
Can you see the this slide, and can you see this slide also?
Sir, first slide, but not in the presentation mode, sir.
Okay, but in this way you can see that. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
So can you see my next slide now?
Yes, sir. Slide 2 is visible.
Okay, presentation mode seems to be some problem. Okay, doesn't matter.
Yes,
But,
sir. Please.
I think
Continue.
we will proceed without presentation mode.
Sir, please.
Okay. So if you look at the vision of new education policy, I will be more interested in just showing you the text which I have shown in the color red color, making India a global knowledge superpower. Now remember, we always aware of the word superpower, one who is having the armaments, money and all that. That is all always we talk about when we look at this particular word superpower. But remember here we are talking about the knowledge superpower, and I think that is something wonderful. So we have to rather upgrade ourselves with the knowledge, so that we will be the superpower in knowledge sector, so that ultimately we will rule the whole world. Second point, which I have also find quite interesting in the vision, is mentioned that the learners a deep-rooted pride in being an Indian. I think this is something great. Learners means we rather use this word for everybody, students, faculty, even a common man also. But then in that case, we should have a deep-rooted pride in being an Indian. I think this is very important nowadays. I have seen in most of the colleges, those who are offering the higher education, even the parents, they are interested in sending their ward out of India. They said, no, I will send him in US, I will send him in Europe or Australia, New Zealand and all that. No one talks about that he should be in India. And you know, there is no point in just telling you about what happens, that there is a long queue of the green card to get a green card in US and all that. Every day you see that type of news in the newspaper. So that is also very interesting. I think we'll have to rather orient ourselves, the education policy, to see that everybody will be having a pride to be an Indian. And the last one is the global citizen. Now, global citizen talks about we have to work in whole world as if we are the citizen of the whole world. So, once you have the global perspective, the thing will change a lot. And that is why we always used to tell our all junior faculty members that to visit the countries to whom we call it as a developed country or advanced country and see that what exactly they are doing. Your perspective will change. And otherwise we stay in our so-called institute. We don't move. We don't look at the other institute or in other country. Finally, we feel that, okay, whatever we are doing is the right. But once you actually look into the other countries, then only you come to know that, yes, there is strong need to change ourselves. So I can tell you from my own experience that I visited almost more than 11 countries. And I found that, yes, my perspective changed a lot. Otherwise, I would have been in the one small watertight compartment and saying that, okay, I'm the best. No, that I realized it very well. Okay. So the next point is the discussion about in my lecture. I have just noted the 5 points. Is the slides visible? The changed one also? Hello? Is the changed slides are visible now? Points for discussion?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible now. It's
Okay,
visible.
okay,
No problem.
okay, no problem.
Please continue, sir.
Sure,
Okay.
sure. So now points for the discussion, which I have just noted, are 5. Introduction, national education policy to be looked from higher education point of view, national education policy to be looked from multidisciplinary education point of view. And the 4th point is more important as far as our lecture is concerned, the national education policy from National Research Foundation point of view. And finally, the conclusion. Now, this 5th point, conclusion, is very important for me. I like that. Even the audiences also, they like the conclusion, because as soon as the speaker reaches to that point, they know, oh, it's okay, now our lecture is ending. Anyhow, joke apart, what I would like to tell you in conclusion, I always used to see that there has to be some takeaway message to all the audiences and even to me, so that we should remember our lecture, that what exactly we are supposed to do once we enter into the field. And that is how I carefully designed the conclusion part. And I don't want to make it more complicated also, because if it becomes complicated, nobody will remember it. I would like to make it as simple as possible, so that the people should remember it forever, and they should orient themselves in the field based on whatever they have learned in this particular lecture. Okay. So let us start with the introduction. That's the first point for our discussion, and I wish to rather tell you something interesting point. When this slide I have prepared, I'm sorry that I cannot run it in a presentation mode, but here I just shown the title as from Blackboard to online. You can see that here we were quite tuned to the Blackboard teaching long back, and all of a sudden we are now changed to the online mode. This is something great change that we have noticed. Sometimes we feel that the Blackboard teaching is the best, online is not the best, or some people make it otherwise also. They say that no, online is the best, Blackboard teaching was boring and whatever it is. Question is, why there was a Blackboard teaching? The reason for that is the material, that is what we call it the study material, that was not available in plenty. It was only available in the library, or the books which are available in the bookshops, but they were also limited. And a student who is a learner, he was referring, or rather he is referring even today, one book, or maybe another book as a reference book. And ultimately, he tried his best to understand the concept, which was not a very easy thing for him. And therefore, teaching by a faculty member on a blackboard, it was more important that time. Because the teacher or the faculty member, he is to read not only one book, but he was having a great experience of getting the knowledge from the various sources, and he is to deliver it in a class using the blackboard. So student used to get the complete understanding of the subject through the blackboard. And I'm just showing it there itself on the screen, the teacher teaching on the blackboard, students referring on the library. And then there was a change that this Xerox machine, we call it as the photocopy machines, that was invented. And then the students have started taking the Xerox or the photocopies of the study material. So the material was slowly available to everybody. And then all of a sudden, what has started coming in, the students find the study material with them, and they used to study at home on their own. So sometimes even missing a class was not a big issue for them, or not attending the class was also heavily noticed once this photocopy machine has started. And now, today, the whole thing is available on the computer. That means on the net. And here you will find that there is a tremendous knowledge available. It's like they call it as the information explosion. It's just like an explosion of a bomb. Lot of information is available online. And what you'll find is that these students can learn through the net. He can learn means what? He will get more and more information from the net, and transforming that information to the knowledge, hopefully, is possible by interacting with the faculty members. So faculty members may not require to put more efforts on the blackboard, but rather faculty members are required to put more efforts on the discussion. And the discussion based on the information which is very easily available to the students. And that's what exactly I always used to tell my students when I deliver the lecture, even today online. I used to tell my student that please ask me the question or put a query, wherein I should say that, oh, I don't know about this particular problem or this particular concept that you are asking. Let us search it on the net, and we will find out what is the correct answer to the query or the question that you are asked. So I wish to rather keep one period only for searching on the net whatever the queries the students have asked, which I found it quite interesting. But for that, the student has to also put efforts to ask me the query which I find it quite interesting. So this is how the whole thing is changed. So unnecessarily calling bad names to the online teaching, or unnecessarily calling bad name to the blackboard teaching, all these things should be neatly looked into. Blackboard teaching was important that time, and today online teaching is also important. Now, if you say that, oh, online teaching is not at all required, I'm still happy with the blackboard and all that, you may find the students not interested in blackboard teaching. They may say that whatever you are telling us, all this thing is available, which I can read it on myself, I can understand it myself, but this is the area where I found the thing quite complicated. There I want your contribution. So that is what we have to look into. So see, the teaching learning scenario that has changed, and we'll have to rather look it in our new education policy from this perspective. The next interesting point, which I will be more happy to discuss with you, is about the National Institute rankings. These are the new things which has been introduced by the Ministry of Human Resources. And there is a race in this particular NRF to keep the ranking of the institute at the top. Now, to what extent this will help us? Because we are only competing in a region, that is, or maybe in the country like India. But if you look at the world university ranking, then you will find that we are quite behind. And that is what I like in the region, global city. Our perspective has to be global. So when you look at the world university rankings, you will find that very few universities, that too an established IITs, they only find the place in the world ranking in the first 500. Very few in first 1,000. And you know, that is one of the major problems that we have to look at. Because as you know very well, our honorary past president, late Abdul Kalam Sahab, he has a dream. He said that he had a dream saying that by 2020, we had to change our status from developing to the developed country. Now, we will not look at the time period, but we will still stick to developing to developed status. Developed status to the country is only possible if we focus more and more attention on the education sector, especially the higher education side. And that is where, if you look at the world university ranking, we still are not up to the mark as far as the education is concerned. And if we are not in that particular scenario, what will happen? That our dream of getting a so-called world's developed country status is far, far away. So we'll have to look into this aspect also. This is very important. Now, let me now take you to national education policy from higher education perspective. This is quite interesting. Now, if you look at how we have changed our higher education towards colleges and university, I hope you can see this on the screen. The first college that is in the record is the Roorkee College, 1847. I'm proud to be the alumni of IIT Roorkee. Then we got a so-called freedom in 1947. And in 1951, the first IIT, that is IIT Kharagpur, was established. And later on, more and more academic colleges and universities that is established. Now, this is something very interesting for all of us, the higher education. We have rather entered in the higher education by establishing more and more colleges in all the disciplines. We call it as the arts or the commerce or the science, engineering, medical, all colleges. And universities also, which are the key so-called institute which controls the quality and conduct of the higher education in such colleges. Now let's look at this higher education perspective after all these colleges and universities are established, and even today also we are now moving in the even autonomous universities, private universities and all that. So if you look at this higher education, you'll find that it is severely fragmented higher educational ecosystem. I'm just showing you here the graph of, the map of Maharashtra. So this is a representative of all the states in India. And you can see there, if you look at the dots, blue dots, there are around some 7-8 universities which are located in Maharashtra. Now, why do we call it as a severely fragmented? It is because the universities is suppose at Nagpur, the colleges from say like Chandrapur, Wardha, or even the distance places, they get attached or they get monitored by the universities which is located at Nagpur. So the colleges are far apart from the university institute, and therefore the ecosystem is fragmented. 7 or 8 universities are controlling all the colleges or monitoring all the colleges in Maharashtra. I don't have the data for that. that shows how fragmented our university system is. Let's look at another interesting point here, the rigid separation of the discipline. I'm just showing you here from the engineering perspective point of view, we work in a very watertight domain. Say, for example, mechanical discipline, electrical discipline, civil discipline, electronics discipline, materials engineering discipline, industry engineering discipline. All of them actually they work in a very watertight compartment. Even if you look at this figure very carefully, you'll find that in the discipline, major discipline also, nobody is interacting. That's how exactly it happens with our mechanical system, which I am aware of because I am from mechanical engineering discipline. So we say that, okay, I am from design. I don't know about the thermal. I don't know about the production. Or somebody says that I'm from production. Don't talk about the thermal or the design. Some fellow says, no, I'm from thermal. Don't talk about the design. So, we work in such a rigid separation, which is very, very problematic, which is not at all desirable. We are going to look into this into some more detail. The another interesting point here, if you look at the higher education, see the map of India where the people speaking the languages is indicated. And the major languages are indicated there. And then I have just shown you the data also that how many people, that is the percentage of people, they speak the language called Hindi, Bengali, Marathi, Telugu, Tamil, and all that. Interestingly, what you'll find, the data shows that English is spoken by less number of people. And because if you look at it as a mother tongue, English is not a mother tongue of any people here. And we actually ask the students in higher education to learn everything in English. So teaching in local language is a big question mark. We have never thought about it. And therefore, the higher education should pick up. For what? For the research. Which is, if you look at the next slide, you'll find that there's a less emphasis on the research in most universities. Students are finding it more difficult because they are not tuned to or rather understanding the basic concept. And these are all the problems. That is what we have noticed in the higher education sector. And we look at the higher education sector as a very important one. That's what I told you right at the beginning, because ultimately we'll have to enter into the domain, or rather we have to enter our status from the developing to the developed stage. Okay. Now let's look at another interesting point here. That is the multidisciplinary education. Now, multidisciplinary education is something which is not very well established in India. What do you mean by multidisciplinary education? I just shown you a slide where I have shown you that the students learning a mechanical engineering. And suppose he finds a particular discipline more interesting. It is difficult for him to learn that. He can't say that, okay, I got a BTech in mechanical, I want to now get the BTech in computer science now, or maybe the BTech in civil engineering. No, it's not possible. You don't allow the students to learn the other discipline. And such concept of multidisciplinary education is not nurtured in our education system till today. Though at the college level, like IITs and some NITs, they tried their best to float what is called as electives. And they say that, okay, if at all you are interested in the computer science and you are a mechanical engineering student, better opt the elective from computer department and learn a particular subject which is floated as an elective there. But you will be still getting a degree in mechanical engineering, and ultimately you will enter the field as a mechanical engineer. he will never enter the field where he'll say that yes, I'm expert in not only mechanical but even computer science also. Though the concept of dual degree and other things are there in IITs and all that. This is something not very much practiced in our India. Let me show you here an interesting picture. I hope you will find it more interesting to look at. We have to move towards more multidisciplinary undergraduate education. I don't know how far it's clear to you, but I'm just showing you the map of Great Britain and the two important universities in the Great Britain. They call it as Oxford University or Cambridge University. Now, when you look at the Cambridge University or Oxford University, I'm just showing you here the pictures of the colleges that are attached to that university. Exactly the same system what we do have here. But in, say, for example, in Nagpur University, we have university at Nagpur and college at, say, Wardha, which is around 100 and 200 kilometers from here, 100 kilometers from here. That is get attached. Or even to the extent of 150 kilometers or even more than that. The scenario is more complicated when you look at the universities at Kolhapur or southern Maharashtra. And same thing is reflected almost in all the states of India. Now, what is the beauty of this University of Cambridge or University of Oxford? I'm lucky enough to visit the Cambridge University. There are a good number of colleges, if you can see that particular figure in detail, which is available on this net, you can just look into that. The colleges which are affiliated to the Cambridge universities, they are in Cambridge town itself, the city called Cambridge. That city Cambridge is only for the Cambridge University. And you will find out all these colleges are nearby. And what is interesting is that the colleges which are offering the courses in arts or music, courses in engineering, courses in science, courses in linguistics, all are nearby. It may happen. Suppose a student who is developing an expertise in music, he finds that, oh, these instruments which are string instruments are really very interesting, very catchy. And he starts studying how exactly this happens. And he starts developing interest in physics. He can join the college near his own college. And he becomes the expert in multidisciplinary as a major in music as well as major in physics. That is what they talk about. Because the college is nearby. Think of a village or town or the Tehsil place, Taluka place, where there is only one arts college. And a student finds quite interest in the science or the commerce. And if it is not available near to his town, you know, he has to move somewhere else and ultimately finds himself in dilemma, whether I'm doing or I'm taking a right step or not. That doesn't happen there. So that is something which is very, very important point for all of us to look at, multidisciplinary education. And you know, when you look at this multidisciplinary education, let me show you the figure of the Chhattisgarh state. Can we think of such type of multidisciplinary universities, one in every district with medium of instruction in local language? If we can think in this direction, hopefully you can see the changes in the education at higher level. Every district, there has to be multidisciplinary universities. And the example which I have already given to you, that the student, he upgrade himself in other discipline also and you'll find that he can deploy his knowledge for the benefit of the society. So that's why, you know, select any field in advanced country, you'll find that they are expert. And that is something which we find very interesting. And, you know, the people, they still take pride in saying that I'm referring a foreign author book. I'm referring the foreign culture where this is where the best thing is possible. Now, remember here, all this thing is possible if we can think of from the educational perspective, the way I have just discussed with you here. So, this is what exactly we need to look at the higher education side. Let me tell you another interesting point, which is again more interesting for all of us to look at, because this is all related to the new education policy that we are presently working on. The Multidisciplinary Education and Research Institute. Up till now, I was just talking about the teaching institute. But can we have the multidisciplinary education and research universities, to which they call it as a MERU, which is at par with IITs and IIMs? That means there are IITs and IIMs all over India. Can we not have the MERU, where there will be multidisciplinary education? You know, the IITs, they offer mostly the education in science and technology. IIMs only offer in case of a management. Can we not have the MERU, where not only science and technology and management, but even arts, commerce, law, medical, everything will be there. And such universities will be research oriented. An interesting point here, that's what I have shown it in my screen. It will be a holistic education, covering all the feature, taking all people into consideration, and it is a multidisciplinary also. And that's what they say, the multidisciplinary education should have the universities which are teaching universities, other one are research universities, and maybe the degree granting colleges also. So what is interesting for us, if you look at from this perspective, you'll find that this is giving a wide angle to what exactly we should look at our higher education. But now let me take you in another interesting point when you talk about the multidisciplinary and that too the higher education point of view. We will be now more focused towards the research. Now, why this research is important? This is again very important point for all of us to look at. When you look at the research, you know, I'm just showing you here. I'm sorry that I'm not in a position to show you the presentation mode, but this would have been quite interesting. But let's look at this slide. What I mentioned there, that the teaching in today's world of internet, we say that teachers are everywhere. All of us know about the SWAYAM courses, distance learning, MOOC, e-learning platform, and even the courses offered as a EDX and Coursera and all that. All these things are available. So where does this Blackboard teaching stands? Here, again, taking you back to the very first slides that I have shown to you, the teacher or the faculty member is still required. Why? It is because now if you look at this particular slide, it will be more interesting for me to discuss. Because this I'm telling you from my own experience. The teaching will be more effective if the research done is informed to the students during the classroom teaching. Students are interested in knowing what research the faculty member is doing, because that is not available on the net. And the teacher has his own experience of telling what exactly happens in such phenomena, especially in science and technology. And that's why I mentioned you here, my experience, that because I'm working in this casting industries, how that has helped my research, which I'm doing it under the Smart Foundry, which is related to the automation in the foundry. I have found that because I'm doing a lot of work in that particular project, when I teach it to the undergraduate students, this particular subject of casting, because I have learned about the casting simulation, the students find it more interesting when I tell them that, okay, the complete process of the casting can be executed on the computer and you can see the defects well in advance and adjust the parameter in the field so that the part that will come out will be defect free. And as there will not be any defects, you are saving the resources. Even you are increasing the profit of the company will increase. Now, the students find it quite interesting and they themselves take interest in learning the subject. So that's what is very interesting for me to tell you here, that research is very important as far as our academic institute comes. Another interesting point which I would like to tell you is related to the knowledge that we generate. And what I have shown here, if you look at this particular slide, I have shown the knowledge at the two ends. One is the low end, another one is the high end. Low end knowledge does not mean that low end knowledge is inferior and high end knowledge is superior. That doesn't mean that. I just mention it to make it things more simple for you. What do you mean by low end? Low end means graduation. And what do you mean by high end? High end means post graduation, PhD, research. That is how we divide it. Now, what happens when we focus only on the low end? That means more and more graduates that are coming out of the education institute. I hope this all of us will appreciate that when you focus only on the low end knowledge, more and more graduates will come out and they will demand the jobs. And where these students look at, they will look at the traditional industries for the job. Now, the traditional industries, whether they are capable of offering so many jobs, because the graduates coming out are more in numbers, whether you can create so many jobs, keeping your existing job as it is in traditional industry, that's the major challenge. And we always look at the supply and the demand side. And we say that, okay, demand is less, supply is more. And therefore, all these jobless or and the concept, even sometimes I hate when they say that the students are not employable. The students are not educated proper and all that. I said that, see, they got the degree. They have the degree in their hand. If you should then introspect the whole education system. If you say that they are not employable, if you say that they are not knowledgeable, you have to introspect your education sector rather than calling bad names to that student and saying that you are not up to the mark. This is what is very interesting for all of us to look at. So now, look at the scenario, how the thing will change when we enter into this research. Now, when you enter into the research, when you focus on the high-end knowledge of the research, you'll find that there is an interesting thing that comes in. What is that? The manufacturing industry is nowadays customer-centric. That means innovation, comfort is given more, rather, the value. And innovative and tailor-made product is the need of an hour, which is not possible by the traditional industries. Traditional industries or the factories, they are meant for mass production. And they cannot think of the innovative or tailor-made product. And that's how they cannot offer even the more jobs. Then what's the solution? Solution is the startup. That is what I have mentioned it on the screen. That means the startup or the small setup, I should say at this moment, which will cover the innovative and tailor-made product need. And I will be happy to show you an interesting slide wherein you can see the what exactly the stalwarts like Nandan Nilekani and others will talk about. I'm showing you here on the slide the interview of Nandan Nilekani, which is recently published in Economic Times in August 2020. And one of the things which I like, the question which was asked to him and the answer. So I'm just showing you here the paper and highlighted one, and I written it the text for you to look at. He has been asked the question, you think the future for India will be where more small players also compete? Yes. Answered it very nicely. He said that I am of the firm belief that it is not about few companies creating millions of jobs, but millions of companies creating a few jobs each. That is what I see as the future. Please read that text in the red color again. What he says that few companies creating millions of jobs is not at all possible, is not feasible also. Think of the big companies like L&T and Tata Motors and all the big companies. They can't create millions of jobs. Rather, they are finding it difficult to keep the existing job as it is. Because of the heavy automations and all that, they are finding it tough. But remember here, millions of companies creating a few jobs each. That is now, look at the one which I have mentioned, the startups. So startups can create a lot of jobs. If you have more and more startups, millions of companies means millions of startups and creating a few jobs, it will solve the problem of job seeker. They say that be the job creator, but remember, saying that not to be job seeker, that's wrong. Job seekers will be always there, but the job creator should rather solve the problem of the job seeker by entering into the startup. And one of the wonderful things which I am just like to show you here on the economic survey, which is presented, around 4,70,000 jobs are created by more than 39,000 startups. You can look into this particular survey, again conducted by the Economic Times. Interestingly, what we see that all these startups are possible only when you focus more on the research, more on the high end knowledge. Okay. Now, the interesting point for all of us to look at is the National Research Foundation. So I think I'm at least to some extent successful in indicating you our higher education, multidisciplinary education, and the need of the research. So ultimately, it is the National Research Foundation that is what they have indicated. And they say that there is a need of establishment of National Research Foundation, which is envisioned in the National Education Policy. And India to get that National Research Foundation and another foundation. Now let's look at this National Research Foundation in somewhat different perspective. If you look at the R&D expenditure in India, you'll find that it's less than even 1%, 0.6 to 0.7%. But if you look at the spending, or rather the research funding of the institutes like MIT, US, it goes in billions of dollars, billions of dollars. And if you look at the contribution, if you look at the R&D expenditure or the contribution from the government and the public side, that is what is indicated there, you will find that the total is around 0.7% of the GDP. But if you look at the same funding from the institutes like MIT in US, most of the funding is through the non-profit NGOs or even by the industry sponsored R&D. All these things, I think you can see that very well, which is shown in the film. So ultimately, what we are lagging, it is not only the public or the support from the government, but support from private sector is also negligible in R&D sector. Always rather blaming the government that we are not spending more on R&D is not correct. We should also blame the private companies, those who are earning in crores, that they are not supporting the R&D as far as the India is concerned. And that's very important. So what is interesting here to look at, we have to see that when the research funding is concerned, what are the key research, issues related to the research? Number one, robust ecosystem of research is needed for the progress of nation. I already told you about that. And you will appreciate that more and more research in any country automatically takes it to an advanced country or the developed country. Number two, high quality interdisciplinary research is the need and cannot be simply imported. I give an example there of biomedical engineering. We are working in biomedical engineering. I already shown you on our CAD/CAM center. We are working on an orthopedic implants, metallic implants, even nowadays with the tissue engineering. We find that even today, we rely more and more on the product which are imported. Why? Because this biomedical engineering is an interdisciplinary field. It's involved not only the mechanical materials or the computer engineering, but even the bioscience also. So it's a aggressive multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary area where the research plays dominant role, and you need a high quality product. That is the need today. Secondly, research in arts and humanities not seen much. I'm sorry that I'm not having that authority to comment on that, but research not seen in arts and humanities means what? Whatever the research is being carried out, it should be deployed, and immediately common man should get the benefit out of that, which is lacking. And the fourth point, which is still interesting, the best teaching and learning is possible where there is also strong culture of research and knowledge creation. And that's why I have shown you that particular figure of MIT. For the last so many years, MIT is in the first 5 world ranking institutes. It is because there is a more and more focus on the research, and teaching also improves. I told you from my own experience. So the best teaching and learning is possible if we give more and more focus on the research. Let us look at what our national education policy talks about. They say that NEP envisions a comprehensive approach to transferring the quality and quantity of research in India. They are actually interested in focusing on what type of the quality of research and how many research institutes are there. That means quality and quantity both. Remember, this is really very tough, but they are focusing on that. They are also thinking about the National Research Foundation establishment. What is this NRF? The NRF is for developing a culture of research to permeate through our universities. That means by creating the NRF, the research ecosystem will be developed in the universities system or at higher education system in our India. That is why NRF is envisioned. And the last point which is mentioned there, bullet point, NRF will competitively fund research in all this competition. Remember, when you talk about the research, it has to be competitive. Competitive in what sense? That the research, if you find that it is deployable and the common man is getting the advantage of that, it will be wonderful. That is why the research is required. Ultimately, we want that the life of the common man should be at ease. And that will be only possible through research. So the research, if at all it becomes a competitive, then only the thing will be possible, and for which the NRF will play a dominant role. What are the another institutes who are like NRF in India? You know, I hope you people must be aware of the DST, DAE, DBT, ICAR, ICMR, UGC. All these are the institutes which still currently fund the research. Remember, they will still continually do so. But NRF is rather another one which will be coordinating the activities of all and avoiding the duplication of it. It should not happen that I am getting a funding from NRF also and DST also for the same project which I am floated at both the institute. That is not the case. And we'll have to, and why the NRF and why when we have so many? Because when you talk about the DST, it talks about only the funding to science and technology. When you talk about the DBT, it is only funding to the biological or medical science. ICR only for related to the agriculture. So, you know, NRF covering all. So when you have the NRF, it is not again the way we have seen, if you can recall my previous slide, there is no rigid separation. All are together in NRF. So anyone can approach to NRF. Who would like to do the research in arts? I've just given an example, if you just remember, that a music teacher or a music student, he finds quite interesting in physics because of the string instruments, because of the audio, because of the noise, and he entered into the research at that level, he can apply for NRF. So that's what exactly they talk about the NRF. And what are the primary activities of NRF? The primary activities of NRF are recognize the outstanding research and progress. That is number one. How do you rather enter into this part of recognize outstanding research and progress? You know, it has to be properly evaluated. Whatever the proposal is submitted. And you know, that is the key issue. You need good number of people, those who are educated. They will evaluate the proposal. And based on that evaluation, the funding is granted. So, we have to first look into such recognizing the good research. Secondly, fund the competitive grant proposal. Yes, that means fund that. And the third point is more important, seed, grow, and facilitate research at academic institute. You will have to see that at every academic institute, the faculty members and students, they talk about the research. At this point, I would like to just tell you my experience. Because I'm teaching in the engineering institutes, then whenever the students' parents, they come to meet me, and because their student is admitted in the first year and all that, they just ask me, sir, where is the training and placement department and how much package mess you all will get once you passed out from here? I get irritated with this question. I said that let him study first. And that too, you have the goal of getting how much big package. If he has a good knowledge, you do not have to worry about that. And you know, the parents needs to be properly nurtured. Otherwise, what happens? The student will again look at the parents and he will say, oh, my parents want this thing, so I will do that. No. If he finds interest in that particular subject, and if you enter into the research domain, which we will be creating through the NRF, the success or the progress of the nation is bound to be there. So that's what exactly all the primary activities at this particular NRF talk about. A lot of things are required to know from the NRF, though it is at the very early stage. But I would like to rather tell you that NRF will change the total scenario in higher education at a research level. But interesting point here that you'll have to look into, they say that fund, that means you need the funding for that. And that is where we'll have to always look into. The researcher should be in a position to ask the fund which is required for his research legitimate. Not at randomly. Simply saying that, okay, I need this and I need that and all that makes no sense. You have to first develop an expertise in the field. And you should feel the hurdles in learning more and more. That hurdle talks about the research. You say that, okay, I wish to rather know something more in that. It's not possible. So how can I get it done? That's from where the research starts. And then you are asking NRF that I need the funding to know more about this. Maybe in case of science and technology, the data generation, maybe through the experimentation, maybe through field visit, or only the human resources where more and more thoughtful ideas coming up, which we call as an ideation, for which you need more and more funding. I think that is the correct approach, rather than just asking for more big machineries or maybe the big infrastructure, but not delivering, which is, we call it as a deployment of the research. I hope all of you must be aware by this time. This particular word deployment of the research, if at all it is to be explained in a very simple term, I should say that your research should benefit the common man, and common man should get, he should be proud of your research, saying that it is only because of this it is possible for me to live comfortably. Comfort, that's important. Okay, so let's go to an interesting point which I told you right at the beginning about a conclusion. Okay, so I already told you that the conclusion is very important, and I think I'm right on time to talk about the conclusion. Here in the conclusion, I wish to rather run one slide. Hopefully, I don't know whether it will be possible for me to run it from this, but they say that control and it is no. I think it has to be in the presentation mode. Can you see that in a presentation mode? My slide at this particular link, and I would like to just run that and see whether you can see this. Whether you can look at this. Can you see this National Science Foundation? Excuse me. Can you see this particular screen of National Science Foundation? Hello?
Sir, not yet, sir, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, okay. I think there is some issue with the presentation system, and that's why this is an issue. But okay, I'll come back to the. Can you see this particular link which I'm showing it here? The National Science Foundation. Can you see that link at least?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, great.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I think please go through this link of National Science Foundation. This is exactly what is in USA. They have done it in 1950. They have established the National Science Foundation, just like what we are talking about the NRF. They have actually titled it as National Science Foundation, and there they are funding enormously to the academic institute for the research programs. You know, their annual budget is around $50 billion. You know, 50 billion, 1 billion is 100 crores. So 15 into 100 crores in dollars, and if you talk in rupees, you have to multiply again by 80 or 75, whatever it is. You know, such a huge amount of funding available to National Science Foundation. I request all of you to go through this link, maybe after my lecture, and see that how these people have actually established and rather developed the research culture in the advanced country like USA. The NRF is to be looked from the same perspective, because though we are late, but still we are on the line. We can think of developing this National Research Foundation, and we will catch up with the advanced country very soon if we develop it correctly. Now, how do you rather see the success of National Science Foundation? Because that is more important for all of us. Because if we say that we have to match it with the National Science Foundation, so how do we see that whether the NSF is successful, or how do you look at it at the success of the NSF? You know, when I say that $50 billion are the annual budget and all that, that doesn't talk about the success. It is because it's a rich country, so they can afford to have so much of budget. We can't say that, okay, with the National Research Foundation that we have established, we are now giving the 1,000 crores to it to start with. Next year, we have allotted 2,000 crores to it. That means we are successful. It makes no sense. But if you look at this particular slide, you'll find that this is quite interesting. The NSF funded Nobel Prize winners. If you look at the number, you will surprised to see that. That means the research which is funded by the NSF and the Nobel Prize which is been which the faculty members have received, that's the number which is given, total 236. And out of that also, if you look at the physics is 69, chemistry is 61, medicine is 49, and economics is 57. Total 236 Nobel Prize winners right from 1950. The complete list is available on the net. Please do read it. I am showing you here the photograph of Nobel laureate Sir C.V. Raman. You know, he is the only Indian who got the Nobel Prize by researching in India. You know, that is something great. I'm not happy to say that from 1940 till today, we have not received, or any Indian has received the Nobel Prize by researching in India. Remember, there are good number of scientists, those who got the Nobel Prize, but they were in US or other countries. So, you know, what is our goal? Like just what they have mentioned it here, we look at the success of NSF from this NSF funded Nobel Prize winners. And we have seen that the total Nobel Prize winners in USA, where the NFS has funded their research, is 236. And that is what we look at the success of NSF. And this is the target for us. I don't mean to say that we have to now enter more and more this, but what is my wish list? If I look at the next slide, wish list is that more Indians will get the Nobel Prize by researching India, and we shall see the list of NRF funded Nobel Prize winners. The NSF funded Nobel Prize winner list is already available on the net. We wish to see the list of NRF funded Nobel Prize winners. That is what we will look at, the success of NRF. I think I should stop it here. The time is almost up. And thank you very much for your patience sharing. My email address is here, amkme2002@yahoo.com. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Participants are requested to kindly ask their questions, queries to sir, if they have any.
Yeah, I will stop sharing now. Okay. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Thakur sir. Yes.
Well, I am very much thankful to you, sir, for joining us for an enlightening and entertaining presentation on National Research Foundation funding and its functioning. I really personally enjoyed the session. Thank you very much for coming, sir, and thanks a lot. And in future also, we are expecting same motivation from you to our society and our staff members and faculty members. Thank you very much.
That's great, sir. That's great, sir. I'm really excited, and I'm thankful to you also that because of such a interesting topic that you have selected as a STTP, I looked into it in a very critically and thought that this is how we should enlighten the all faculty members, and they should also understand that why such things are required.
Right.
So it is only because of you the thing has worked in such a very nice manner, and I'm really happy with your all colleagues, those who were always in touch with me, and ultimately make this particular event successful. So thank you very much.
We are thankful to you as well as Nanoti sir from VNIT family, sir. Sir has also addressed us 2 times.
Nice.
One just before your session, in between 10 to 11:30. सर का ही लेक्चर था सर, और बहुत ही मतलब हम लोगों ने इतना एंजॉय किया है आपकी टीम को सर। नागपुर से जितने लोगों ने भी यहाँ पे व्याख्यान अपना रखा, मुझे लगता है पार्टिसिपेंट्स ने भी काफी इसको सराहा है, और डेफिनेटली मुझे ये लगता है सर कि ये जो इनिशिएटिव है, ये आज हम पॉलिटेक्निक कॉलेज वालों ने जो मिलके एक प्रयास किया है, मैं पूरी पॉलिटेक्निक टीम को और हमारे कॉलेज के स्टाफ मेंबर्स, फैकल्टी मेंबर्स, प्लस जो जितने भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स पॉलिटेक्निक कॉलेज से जुड़े हैं, इंजीनियरिंग में तो ये अक्सर होता रहता है सर, बट ये हम लोगों का एक छोटा सा प्रयास था जिसको हमने काफी अच्छा करने की कोशिश की है, और डेफिनेटली मुझे अच्छा लगता है, ऐसा लगता है कि भाई सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स ने भी एंजॉय किया होगा। और इस भावनाओं के साथ सर हमारा तो बस एक ही प्रयास है कि भाई जैसे मैंने लास्ट सेशन में भी ये बात कही थी सर कि कोई भी चीज अगर हम स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं तो हमारी अपनी जो थिंकिंग है, यदि हम उसको पॉजिटिव डायरेक्शन में लेके आए हैं, तो मेरा ये मानना है, डॉक्टर अवधूत शिवानंद जी ने भी कहा है सर कि यू आर द क्रिएटर ऑफ योर ओन डेस्टिनी। आप ही अपने भविष्य के निर्माता हैं, बस आपको क्रिएशन करना है, यू हैव टू थिंक अबाउट इट एंड डेफिनेटली इट विल गेट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ आउटपुट सर। This is my overall remark regarding your session, and thank you very much.
Thank you sir. मुझे feedback participant का जरूर भेज दीजिएगा.
Sir, definitely.
Thank you. So should I leave the meeting, sir, now?
Yeah, you can, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So I now request all the participants to kindly fill the 16th session feedback form. Sorry. Hope you have enjoyed all the sessions, and we have come to the last session of our TTP. There is one more announcement to all the participants. We will shortly share you the link of the final day test in the chat box, so please stay connected, and the valedictory function will be at 3 p.m. sharply. You all are requested to join at 2:45 p.m. so that we can easily and smoothly conduct the valedictory session, and in that valedictory session we will post the final feedback form that you have to fill up, and that will be your last compulsory entry for this TTP. The participants are requested to kindly fill the final feedback form in the valedictory session, so stay connected with us, and now you can fill the feedback form available in the chat box. As soon as we will post the final test link, I will remind you once again. All the participants kindly note this for the valedictory session, please.
Sir, I welcome Atharu sir to please address the gathering in this regard. Sir, please.
गैदरिंग एड्रेस तो ये करना चाह रहा हूँ कि पार्टिसिपेशन बहुत कम है, पहली चीज है ना। दूसरा पार्टिसिपेशन अगर था तो क्वेश्चन क्यों नहीं पूछे गए, क्योंकि कुठे सर ने जो लेक्चर डिलीवर किया उसमें बहुत सारे सवाल जनरेट होते हैं, है ना। मैं खुद पूछना चाह रहा था लेकिन पार्टिसिपेंट्स पूछे वो बेहतर रहता है ना। तो पार्टिसिपेशन इतना कम क्यों है, इसी सेशन में कम है कि ओवरऑल इतना ही है?
नहीं सर, ये अभी का जो सेशन है ना सर, एक्चुअली पिछला सेशन थोड़ा सा लंबा चल गया था सर, तो उसके चलते ये कंटिन्यूएशन में 5 या 7 मिनट के गैप मिल पाया, तो इस सेशन में थोड़ा रिमार्केबली कम है सर, इस पर्टिकुलर सेशन में जी।
एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन कितने लोगों का है?
अप्रोक्सीमेटली सर 90 to 95 तो एट ए टाइम मिल रहे हैं सर हमको, और बीच बीच में लोग मतलब कभी बीच में नेटवर्क इशू की वजह से या किसी और कारण से एग्जिट हो जा रहे हैं सर, लेकिन फिर से रिज्वाइन कर ले रहे हैं, तो अप्रोक्स 90-95 के आसपास मिल रहे हैं सर।
लिस्ट में तो 150 से ज्यादा है ना आपके उसमें?
हाँ जी हाँ सर, लिस्ट में 150 प्लस है, 150 के आसपास है सर, लेकिन यहाँ पे जो अभी मुझे जो देखने मिला है राघवेंद्र, आई थिंक फर्स्ट डे 120 गया था, उसके बाद थोड़ा सा डाउन लगा है, 110 120 के आसपास था।
Yes,
है ना?
sir. The first day feedback we had received, sir, it is around 115, and yesterday we had received 99, sir. Last feedback. Today I had not checked. I will check, and last day, last
सर्टिफिकेट,
session.
हाँ बोलिए 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 बोलिए।
लास्ट सेशन तक हमारे पास सर 90 प्लस तो है सर, रिकॉर्ड ऑन रिकॉर्ड।
मतलब जो सर्टिफिकेट्स इशू करेंगे ना, वो एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेंट जो होंगे उन्हीं को देना है, बाकियों को नहीं देना है ना?
यस
वो तो खैर आपको मालूम ही है, उसमें कोई इशू नहीं है। लेकिन इसमें कई ऐसे भी होंगे जो 2 सेशन में रहे होंगे, तीसरे में नहीं रहे होंगे, फिर 5वें में आ गए होंगे, है ना? तो वो एक बार खारिज साहब से डिस्कस कर लेना, है ना, कि उनको देना है कि नहीं देना। मेरे हिसाब से तो नहीं देंगे हम, जो जिनका पूरे ही में प्रेजेंस है, क्योंकि वो गाइडलाइंस ही वैसी हैं, है ना? और अटेंडेंस में जो क्राइटेरिया जो है वो 80% का है, वो फुलफिल होना चाहिए, 80% का, है ना? उतना फुलफिल होना चाहिए। तो अपन नाम से रिकॉर्ड कर पा रहे हैं अटेंडेंस, सबकी नाम से कर पा रहे हैं, किसकी कितनी है अटेंडेंस?
यस सर, नाम से ही चल रहा है सर। फीडबैक फॉर्म भी कलेक्ट हो रहा है सर।
हो रहा है ना?
यस यस
ठीक है फिर।
गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
हाँ, गुड आफ्टरनून
सर। एक्चुअली हो क्या रहा है कि सभी स्पीकर मोरलेस सेम लेंथ और टॉपिक पे बोल रहे हैं, तो बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्कशंस जो पहले हो चुका है, और ऑल आर एक्सपर्ट्स आर एक्सपर्ट इनफ टू आंसर, तो इसलिए बहुत ज़्यादा रिडंडेंसी टाइप का ये है, इसलिए शायद क्वेश्चंस नहीं आ रहे। अदरवाइज द सेशंस में आ रहे हैं क्वेश्चंस।
एम कुठे जी को मैं पर्सनली जानता हूँ। उनका जो टॉपिक था ना, उसमें फंडिंग की भी बात वो किए थे, है ना? तो ये पहली बार पॉलिटेक्निक के फैकल्टी मेंबर्स के लिए हो रहा है ना? इंजीनियरिंग में तो हम लोग प्रोजेक्ट प्रपोजल बना के फंडिंग ले लेते हैं, तो पॉलिटेक्निक के टीचर्स क्यों नहीं ले फंड, हमारा ये कहना है। तो फंडिंग के लिए किसी ने क्यों नहीं पूछा? बहुत एजेंसीज हैं जहाँ से फंड मिलता है, प्रपोजल जाते हैं।
सर कल एनआईटी रायपुर से एक प्रेजेंटेशन हो चुका है सर, एक्सपर्ट्स का।
समीर बाजपेयी
नहीं सर,
समीर बाजपेयी का बोल रहे हैं, कविता था बढ़िया। अच्छा, आर्यन पटेल का था।
तो उन्होंने इन डिटेल में जो हमारे लेवल का है, उन्होंने इन डिटेल बता चुके थे, मतलब कौन कौन सी एजेंसियां।
हाँ, क्या मैं आपको एक चीज बताता हूँ, फंडिंग जो रहती है अलग अलग इंस्टीट्यूट में, अलग अलग प्रोजेक्ट प्रपोजल की आती है। कॉमन प्रोजेक्ट प्रपोजल जरूरी नहीं है कि मिले, है ना? जैसे VNIT से, वो बहुत पुराना रीजनल इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज है, तो वहाँ उन लोग का लुकआउट अलग है। उनकी कई ऐसी भी फंडिंग एजेंसी होंगी जिनके बारे में हमको पता नहीं है ना? तो अपने को कम से कम एक्सप्लोर करना चाहिए था कि फंडिंग एजेंसीज कौन कौन सी हैं, कहाँ से फंड लिया जा सकता है। कई बार ऐसा होता है कि 3 फंडिंग एजेंसी कॉमन है और प्रोजेक्ट प्रपोजल बहुत चले जाते हैं, तो जो प्रोजेक्ट प्रपोजल वीक रहता है उसको वो लोग नहीं देते हैं पैसा, जो अच्छे रहते हैं उनको देते हैं। लेकिन कई ऐसी भी फंडिंग एजेंसीज हैं जिनके पास प्रपोजल्स बहुत कम जाते हैं, है ना? और वो चाहते हैं कि प्रपोजल्स आए, तो अपने को वो सब एक्सप्लोर करना चाहिए। फंडिंग एजेंसीज के नाम पता होना चाहिए, क्योंकि मुझे ध्यान है, बहुत पहले की बात है, एक छत्तीसगढ़ के व्यक्ति बहुत हायर पद पे फंडिंग एजेंसी में दिल्ली में थे। उनसे जब हमारी चर्चा हुई तो बोले छत्तीसगढ़ से प्रपोजल बहुत कम जाते हैं, और मैं इंतजार करता रहता हूँ कि छत्तीसगढ़ से कोई प्रपोजल आए और मैं फंड दूं। आप समझ पा रहे हैं?
यस सर,
है ना? तो फंडिंग लेना है, क्योंकि सरकार अभी जो है, अभी देखिए, अभी स्थिति बहुत विकट होते जा रही है। गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूट जो है वो थोड़े डिक्लाइन पे चले जाएंगे, ये न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी पे, क्योंकि अपने को अलग से एफर्ट लगाना होगा, है ना? तो वो डिक्लाइन नहीं चाहते हैं, इसलिए अपने को एबल भी करना है, अपने को वो एक्सप्लोर भी करना। और फंडिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए पैसा बहुत है ना? वैसे एड नहीं मिलती गवर्नमेंट की, वैसे एड ज्यादा नहीं रहती है, वो कट शॉर्ट करते जाते हैं। लेकिन फंडिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए पैसा आ रहा है, स्किल डेवलपमेंट के लिए पैसा आ रहा है। और आप लोग, आपका जो इंस्टीट्यूट है वो एक गैप फिल करता है। आप देखोगे ITI के बाद पॉलिटेक्निक आता है, पॉलिटेक्निक के बाद इंजीनियरिंग आता है, तो आप ITI और इंजीनियरिंग के बीच में एक बहुत बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म है आप लोगों का, जो आप लोगों को एक्सप्लोर करके आगे बढ़ना है।
यस सर,
ठीक है, तो उसीलिए बस मेरे वही था जिज्ञासा। देखो, मैं बीच बीच में ज्वाइन करता हूँ, फिर छोड़ के भी चले जाता हूँ। आज अभी तक बना हुआ था, इसलिए ठाकुर जी ने देख लिया मुझे, तो बात हो गई, है ना? मैं बीच में छोड़ भी देता हूँ, ज्वाइन भी करता हूँ, छोड़ भी देता हूँ। तो मुझे लेक्चर्स भी सुनने रहते हैं, देखता भी हूँ, है ना। कुठे सर बहुत धीरे बोलते हैं, है ना, आराम से समझाते हैं, वो उनकी शुरू से वैसी हैबिट रही है। लेकिन VNIT में फंडिंग प्रोजेक्ट बहुत ज्यादा है एज कम्पेयर टू NIT रायपुर। वहाँ पर
Yes, sir.
प्रोजेक्ट्स बहुत ज्यादा आते हैं, क्योंकि वो लोग, उनको मालूम भी है और वो लोग लगे भी रहते हैं, है ना। तो एक्सप्लोर करना, मेल में पूछ लेना, उन्होंने अपने कॉन्टेक्ट ID और वो सब दिए, मेल में पूछ लीजिएगा,
जी
है
सर,
ना।
थैंक
अच्छा
यू।
रहा सेशन वैसे,
जी
है ना।
सर,
और
नहीं
मुकेश जी बढ़िया
पूरे
रहा, है ना, लगभग
बहुत
सब खत्म हो गए और मेरे ख्याल से कोई सेशन खाली नहीं गया। और
नहीं
सबसे बड़ा क्रेडिटेबल है कि वेंकट जी आए थे इसमें
हाँ
ये
जी
ये TTP में, जो कि वो बहुत बिजी रहते हैं, मतलब कमी जो है वो हम लोग के साइड से, मतलब हम लोग सोचते हैं कि नहीं आ पा रहे हैं, लेकिन वो इतने बिजी रहते हैं वो कि वो आ नहीं पाते हैं। उनकी मीटिंग्स बहुत चलती है और बहुत फास्ट वर्कर है, बहुत स्पीड से काम करते हैं वो, क्योंकि वो डिफेंस से है तो उनकी हैबिट वैसी है, तो फंसे फंसे रहने के कारण नहीं आ पाते हैं, है ना। लेकिन इस बार आए तो अच्छा लगा।
यस सर, यस
वो बोलते भी बहुत स्पीड से है।
हाँ फुल स्टॉप नहीं, नॉन स्टॉप।
हाँ,
सर
नेशनल
कल भी
एजुकेशन।
जी
हाँ बोलिए बोलिए।
सर कल भी मैंने वेंकट जी को निवेदन किया है सर कि आज सर ज्वाइन करें, तो सर ने अपनी सहमति दे दी है सर, और वो 3 बजे ज्वाइन करेंगे सर। सर का
चलो
मैसेज
बहुत
मिला
बढ़िया
है
है।
जी वेंकट सर
हाँ
का कि
वो
जी जी
रहेंगे तो बहुत अच्छा रहेगा,
जी सर जी
है ना। उनका बोलना थोड़ा अलग अलग पहलू पे बोलते हैं वो।
राइट सर।
और देखो, अगर उस लेवल के व्यक्ति अगर आ रहा है ना, यहाँ अपने वैलिडिटी में, क्योंकि वहीं से अपना MOU हुआ है, तो उनको फंडिंग प्रोजेक्ट के लिए अपने को घेरे में लेना भी है कि सर हम लोग पॉलिटेक्निक संस्था से भी हम लोग फंडिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए अप्लाई करना चाह रहे हैं, है ना। तो आपका कॉपरेशन की पूरी उम्मीद करते हैं। सुन रहे हो ना ध्यान से?
यस सर राइट सर।
यस सर।
है ना? मुकेश जी सुन रहे हो ना? क्योंकि ये ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म है जिसमें अगर उन्होंने कमिट कर दिया तो बैकआउट नहीं कर पाएंगे, है ना। तो इसलिए अपने को प्रोजेक्ट्स